The Lakers season isn't over quite yet. The Cavs can't score at all. I guess the Celtics and Heat played. And whatever this is. Lots of stuff going on in the NBA yesterday. Let's talk about it. But you know what else we should talk about? The sponsor of today's video, PrizePicks. Got a special offer for you, a 100% deposit match up to $100 when you use code SPORTY and you click the link in the description. Again, a 100% deposit match up to $100 on PrizePicks. You can click that link below. If you've never done PrizePicks before, essentially it is you against the numbers. You pick between 2 and 6 selections. You go on the site and you pick more or less for each of these numbers. They have numbers set for all these different playoff games, all these different categories. And if you feel like you have a decent idea of what may or may not happen in a given game, you just put together your selections. And if you're correct, you win some cash. And keep an eye out as well all throughout the postseason because PrizePicks loves to put together these little promos on different days, discount some of the numbers. So it's always worth checking out PrizePicks. And they've also got some of these different numbers as well. They've got these green and red, these demon and goblins numbers. The red ones are more difficult, but they increase your payout, whereas the green ones are less difficult, but give you less of a payout. So you can kind of mix and match with some of those and really put together a selection that works for you. Again, there's a 100% deposit match up to $100. Link in the description when you use code SPORTING as well. And thank you again to PrizePicks for sponsoring this video. All right, let's talk about Lakers Nuggets. This series in general is actually shockingly close. Like that is definitely the headline for me coming out of game 4. They put this graphic on screen. A ton of people tweeted about it. The Lakers have been up a lot of this series. They've held double-digit leads in every single game. And for large portions of this series, they have looked like the better team than Denver. Unfortunately, they're still down 3-1. They're able to win game 4 and able to actually hold on to a lead in the second half. But the amount of time in which the Lakers have actually led in this series, yet not actually being able to win the games, is kind of incredible. And it's certainly a positive that the Lakers have played as well as they have against a Denver team that they have really struggled with overall the last 2 seasons. But doesn't really matter if you don't win the games. I mean, going back to game 2, if that game ends differently, like if Jamal Murray doesn't hit this shot, if the last couple of minutes of game 2 go a little bit differently, this is a 2-2 series. This is a series that absolutely is in question, even though they're going back to Denver for game 5. I mean, the Lakers played well enough in game 2 to win the game in Denver, and now obviously we're looking at a 3-1 series. No one's ever come back from down 3-0, so more than likely the series is still 100% over, but still positive signs for the Lakers, and also positive signs, by the way, for LeBron, who I said in a previous video, he's not good enough either. His impact on the game overall is just not where he wants it to be at this point in his career. It was having a very little impact on the game, actually, and in the fourth quarters especially, didn't really seem very engaged, very locked in. Yeah, I'll go and admit that I'm wrong about that one. LeBron was awesome in the fourth quarter of game 4. May have actually wagered on his live under points total, which probably shouldn't have done. And certainly I'm not trying to say that the Lakers are going to come back and do anything special in this series. To come back down from 3-0 has never happened in the history of the league, and for it to happen against a team that the Lakers have struggled with the last 2 seasons and are defending a title and are probably one of, if not the best teams in the entire league, feels very unlikely. But it also feels unlikely that the Nuggets would just not have shoes to warm up in before the game. Apparently the delivery truck or something, whatever delivers the shoes to the game for the Nuggets, was a little bit late. So they're literally just like warming up in slides, which I'll be honest, like I know that NBA games are logistically, there's a lot of stuff going on. I didn't realize that there was a special truck that like delivered all the players' shoes. I didn't realize that they didn't show up with shoes. I know there's like equipment management, all this stuff, but like I've never seen players warming up before a pivotal playoff game. They could advance to the second round of the postseason, and they're warming up with slides on. Bradley Beal saying he's never been swept before is like saying you've never been rejected by a girl when you haven't spoken to one since high school. There was a comment on yesterday's video.
I've never been swept a day in my life.
I've never been swept a day in my life.
When Bradley Beal said that he's never been swept before in the playoffs and he doesn't think they're going to get swept in this series either. And as soon as I saw it, I knew it had to be in this video. Next, let's talk about Thunder Pelicans. It's clear the Thunder are just much better. Obviously, no Zion for the Pelicans. There's some concerns that people have had. I've certainly had about the Thunder's, lack of size in the front court. Jonas Valanciunas has had some big games against them, but they've been able to figure it out. They're going to be moving on, it seems like, to the second round. But I want to talk about some other stuff. Kenny threw this one out there on Twitter, and it kind of relates as well to Magic Cavs, we're going to talk about here in a little bit. I'm super down for this. The Brandon Ingram, Darius Garland swap in the offseason, I'm down for that. We're going to talk about the Darius Garland part of this a little bit later, but I've already discussed in other videos how I think Brandon Ingram could become available if Zion is able to stay healthy. He's a unrestricted free agent in the summer 2025. I like this idea. But the vibes on this Thunder team just continue to be at an all-time high. I've never actually seen this before. After a nationally televised game, big playoff game, the Thunder ditched the post-game interview and actually ended up going to do the post-game interview for the local broadcast, because all these still, regional games are still doing the local regional broadcast. It's not just on TNT. And I kind of like it. I kind of respect it. I, generally speaking, kind of hate the post-game interviews for all of this stuff. Like, whenever they interview the random assistant coach in the middle of the game, or the random, bench guy in the middle of the game, or when they have them interview after the game, I most of the time just mute it. I have like the worst secondhand embarrassment of all time, and a lot of times I just can't listen to the same 3 questions get asked every single time. So I respect this. I like it. What I don't like is whatever this is. I don't have an explanation for this. I don't know at what point it became just like a meme to wear some of the ugliest things I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, I'm not trying to act like I'm some kind of, fashion expert over here. I've got like a Star Wars shirt on right now, but I can guarantee you that that's one of the ugliest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Next up, let's talk about Magic Cavs. The 2 games that the Magic have played at home against Cleveland have been out of control. They won by like 40 in game 3. They were down 9 at halftime in game 4 and ended up winning by 1 million. They went on like a 35-7 run. Their defense was awesome. The bench guys been coming in playing well. They've been shooting the ball extremely well at home. KOC pointed this out as well. The point totals for the Cavs in the series. Basically, if Donovan Mitchell's not creating good shots for the Cavs, they're not scoring. And part of that is because of how the roster construction works a little bit in Cleveland, but also the Magic defense is extremely good. They made a lineup adjustment where they've got Wendell Carter Jr. starting. They've got Jonathan Isaac coming off the bench rather than starting. Jonathan Isaac is hitting corner threes like it's nobody's business. They've got length everywhere. They've got size everywhere. Paolo was terrible yesterday. Like, unbelievably bad. Couldn't get a shot to go down. Was kind of ball hogging a little bit. Tons of turnovers. And it just didn't matter. Franz was awesome. All the other random role guys were really good. And the Magic can guard, man. And yes, the Cavs have their own issues. Darius Garland has been basically non-existent in the series, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But more so, wanted to give some credit to the Magic because they have been guarding extremely well. Now, the Garland thing, I want to go back to this, right? I mentioned this earlier. There's definitely something happening here with kind of the hierarchy in Cleveland. The version of Darius Garland that we saw the year before they traded for Donovan Mitchell has basically not been seen since. I don't know what happened to the confidence level of that guy, but like when he was the only guard really that they had that could create before Mitchell got there, he was awesome. I mean, they relied on him too much. That's why they traded for Mitchell. But I don't know what it is about his game that's just not working right now in Cleveland, but it is Donovan Mitchell or bust right now for the Cleveland Cavaliers offensively. And that is a huge concern for a team that is as good defensively as the Magic. Bro head looked like the first slice of bread. I'm not even sure what that means, but officially, I'm offended. No, seriously, if you go look at the comments from yesterday's video, basically half of them are about my head. Yeah, we'll keep that in there. That's fine. And then last up, the Celtics and Heat played a basketball game. All right, I'll catch y'all later. See you next time.